This is the Bruce Festival 2016. The festival takes place because Edward Bruce came over to Ireland in 1315 and he was crowned High King of Ireland in 1315. In 1316 then he took over Carrickfergus Castle. The castle was surrendered to him by the English garrison in 1316.
Like a knight with its arm outstretched. Hit it.
The main attraction for us this weekend is the Knights of Royal England, who are here and they're doing our jousting tournament for us. We have a medieval tented village with various demonstrations involved with that. We have a blacksmith, a falconry. We have archery taking place where you can come down and have a go. We have face painting arts and crafts for the kids, storytelling, with various historical lectures as well taking place over at the Civic Centre and indeed at the castle as well today. And then we have our battle demonstrations where the children can actually get involved and beat the reenactors at their own game really and sort of beat them into submission during the battle. The idea really came, we were pulling together literature with the Ulster Historical Foundation and we were doing research into the Bruce story and really to sort of see was there a product there, was there a tourism product that we could look to develop out a bit. We obviously created the literature first, then came the heritage trail and then we thought actually we could do something, the anniversary was coming up, we could do something around that, something bigger, something more community based, really to sort of raise the awareness in the local people. So we decided last year we would run the first version of the festival, so we had about 6,000 people attended that over the 2 days last year. That one marked Edward's marking as High King of Ireland in 1315. This one obviously in 1316. It took him a year then to get the castle to surrender. I think it's important really from an educational point of view for us to teach the kids how things were done in those days. It's why we've got the demonstrations, the pottery, the leather maker, the lamp maker. The family market really for us is key. Really, if you need to get the children young, you need to educate them young, we need to get them interested in this stuff. You know, what's going on, why did it happen?
We were founded 8 years ago and we founded ourselves because we felt that Kragfergus needed something like this on their doorstep rather than having to go elsewhere. We're here, we study the history and we reenact it and live it most of the time and we enjoy it very much.
So I can use it like so.
We have the weapons table there where we show off the weapons of the day and the armour of the day and shields and the way they would have used them. They tell all about how they used them in battle and then the guys go in and demonstrate a few weapons in the arena.
I'm just going to do a quick flick to the neck, like so. He doesn't want this to happen. So he steps back, blocks sword up.
The likes of ourselves do a lot of this type of stuff for film, TV and the likes of that there, but this is what we love to do. We love to put on just fight displays. It's choreographed. We do the choreographs ourselves, so we have set moves that we use in all routines and then the rest of it is made up around that. So we'll actually get in, we'll stand in front of each other and just look at each other until we go, what do we want to do? And then we'll just start throwing swings and working it from there. And it's not a slow process. We get let knowing we were doing this last minute. So we had 4 days to prepare, and we put that display on in 4 days and trained and practiced, and it came out okay. We just have a love and a passion for history. It started off just as my own costume and going to other people's events, and it's built up now. where we can actually put on events for other organisations like the Ulster Scots and the Bruce's Siege in Carrick. It's got a wide history of the Bruce's being here and sieging the castle, and we just love being part of this here. When they got in touch with us originally, we just had to say yes, and we've been a part of it ever since. We're trying to put on a few other bits and pieces of what camp life might have been like when they were sieging the castle. So we've got the kitchen table in the vaults there. They're putting on what maybe medieval guys, the Bruce's men would have been eating, the type of stuffs they would have been eating. We've got a barber surgeon, so his job at the time would have been trying to heal anybody that got hurt. Now I know the Bruce's Siege, there wasn't too much in the old way of battle going on. It was a waiting game that starved them out. But just in case anybody took sick, that's his job. He's the barber surgeon. And he would have cut hair as well, thankfully. That's where the old barber's pole comes from today, the red and the white. We've also got just a wee kids workshop there to let the kids have a go at what it's like to be a knight. You know, they always like watching Mike the Knight and stuff like that there. So we'll get them in with a few of the guys in full armour and just let them go with it. And so it's good fun that way.
It takes a lot of time and effort to do this. A lot of organised in the background, thanks to our group and various other groups that are involved. And it's great to get together and do it. Well, basically, you're taught your basic moves, your steps to go forward, your defence moves, how to be offensive and defensive, how to get yourself out of the way safely without getting injured, and basically get a general feel for it, and then you know what's right for you when you're doing it.
A lot of people think it's all swords and it's all, you know, glamour and it's all armour and all that there. From actually fighting and from learning a wee bit about stuff, I don't think swords would have been used an awful lot on the battlefield because the combat is very close quarters, and your swords are very powerful. You need a big swing for a sword. So I think a lot of what the other weapons, axes, maces, those I think would have been more popular, and they're easier made, they're cheaper made. Swords were very expensive, and so was plate armour. So I think a lot of guys would have been wearing padded gambesons, using axes, maces, which are basically hammers, you know, because they're very short-handled, they're very close quarters, and you can swing it in a small space, where swords, you have to wield them.
Basically, a fight would have taken, in reality, seconds. You just couldn't have kept up with the armour, the chainmail, the swords, you know. The guys would have took a couple of swings, paused for breath and had another go. It's just one of those things. Movies exaggerate it just for vanity purposes, but in reality it just wasn't that exciting.
A lot of the Bruce's men would have been sort of militia. They would have been just guys going about their daily business. Come on, we're going to do this. They weren't professional soldiers. There would have been some professional soldiers. So you basically had to put on anything you could find. The cheapest armours, your padded gambeson, the likes of this, what he's wearing, what this gentleman's wearing in the background. It's just material filled with wool, filled with whatever you could get it. It's just to pad it out to give you a wee bit of sort of sponge to it. Other than that there, leather, very, very popular as well. Who didn't have leather? You know, a lot of cattle, you would have had leather on hand. Everything was made, hats, shoes, whatever else. So that's your basic armour, leather and padded. If you had the money, if you could afford it. Mail, brilliant. Plate armour, yes, lovely shiny helmets if you could afford it, but not everybody could. So most would have been just wearing a bit of padded stuff, their shirts, bit of leather if they were lucky, and a hat. Any helmet, any headwear at all would have been good.
Edward de Bruce, he came here, he led siege to the town, took the town in a few days, took him a year to take the castle. Carrick people were tough stuff. And it took him a year to take the castle, but then they had to surrender through starvation more than anything. And then when he settled here, he became King of Ireland. And Robert, his brother, came over and they sat and worked out their strategy for taking the rest of Ireland. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work out.
We've been invited over to come here and putting on a medieval jousting tournament. So we came over last year. So this is our second year coming over to the Bruce Festival. We actually love coming over here. It's really good. We put on medieval jousting tournaments. We tour all around Britain and Europe with all our horses and all our kit and all our tents and everything else, putting on jousting tournaments. And here we are, coming to recreate about a 14th century tournament.
Stephen for the Reds. Here we go, fast lance on and on. Ow, yes, good 2 points for the Blues there. Nicely done, Ashley. And again, 2 points for the Blues coming. Oh, and Stephen's not happy at all. Is your gruntled dissed? He did broke your hat, yes he did.
We've got two teams, we've got a red team and a blue team, and they're competing for points. So competing to try and find the winner of the day, winner of the tournament. So we've got lots of different types of skills. We've got jousting or tilting, which is two knights riding against each other, and the aim is to hit the opponent with your lance. Now you can either score points on him by breaking your lance on him, by hitting his shield, by hitting his helmet, knocking his crest off, knocking him off his horse. So you get lots of points for all of those things. And then we've got some skills on horseback, which will be picking things up from the ground and spearing rings and things like that. So it was a way of training knights in medieval times. So you weren't actually out to kill each other, but you were out to prove who's the best. I think it's really good to try and get the kids involved in history and learning a little bit. And if they start asking questions, what's that over there, Mum? Oh, that's a knight. Or what's he doing dressed like that? Or why are they doing that? Or that's great. That's really nice. And they come and see the horses. They can pat the horses, have a nice time with the horses. So I think it's really good to give them a good hands-on feel of what history is all about.
There, or sit there and take your punishment properly. Thank you. It's supposed to hurt. Ooh, there you go. That's more like it.
I think we all get injured from time to time. There's one particular knight here who's carrying a nasty foot injury that he sustained last weekend at Blenheim Palace, where he got knocked off and just hurt his leg. So his leg's black, his ankle's black and blue at the moment. But I've broken ribs and collarbones and wrists and ankles and lots of different stuff. I mean, if a horse was ever to slip down and slip over here, which occasionally happens, the ground can be very hard and slippery, so a horse going around a corner, these are all Spanish horses, so they're really fast, and then go around a corner too fast. If you go over, you know, you don't tend to go flying, but you'll end up just falling on with the horse, and then the stirrups that you've got your foot in can actually break your ankle, and it's a stupid injury, but they're just silly little things like that can really hurt, as well as getting hit by a lance in your chest and getting knocked off the back of the horse at 30 miles an hour. That's great fun. We normally start really around the sort of beginning of May time, something like that. So we run from May until the end of August, beginning of September, pretty much every weekend. So we've got shows, and we tour all over Britain. We're in Sweden later on this year at a castle. So we try and pick and choose where we go, because there's a lot of places that want to have jousting and want to put shows on and so forth. So we try and pick and choose. Next weekend we're in Cardiff. We're at Cardiff Castle next weekend. We've just come from Blenheim Palace last weekend. So we're all over the place.
What are you going to do?
We have a selection of birds of prey down here. They book us every year to come down for the 2 days, just to put the birds on display, let people see them up close. If they want to have a go, maybe holding some, you know, giving an odd stroke. So it's a wee bit of hands-on today is what we're doing. We have the lake of the peregrine falcon there, which is native to here, the fastest bird in the world, over 200 miles an hour, it can go in a stoop. We have American red-tailed hawks, Harris hawks, European eagle owls, barn owls and kestrels. Like of the kestrels now, they're one of the smallest falcons we have, but they're one of the best birds to have a bit of fun with. You know, they're not a bird you would take for hunting. If you're going hunting, you would take it like a Harris's or red tails or goshawks, but kestrels are brilliant wee flyers. They're the only true hovering bird of prey we have in this country here, and you know, just the way they hunt is completely unique. They use ultraviolet vision to hunt mice, and that's how they find their prey. The rarest bird we have with us today, which is really rare now in Northern Ireland, both in the UK and Southern Ireland, would be the barn owl. They're really struggling. Like when I go back even 20 years ago, I used to do a lot of fishing at night. I would have seen barn owls up and down the 6 Mile River every single night. You could go now for a full year fishing and you wouldn't see one. Just the numbers are on the way down. Like. Falconry is an ancient old art of a different way of hunting. They use birds of prey for hunting. So in years gone by, what they did, they would have trapped wild birds, what we call, passage birds. They would have trained them, and then they would have used them for hunting. Because when you go back like 3,000 years ago, there was no guns or anything out there. So the nobles, they would have used, like the likes of a goshawk, they would have used them for hunting the like of pheasant, partridge, rabbit, even duck. Now the birds are behind me there now, and you can see most of the time they sit there quite content, quite happy. That's a natural instinct. People think we train our birds to do that. Birds of prey spend most of their life sitting doing nothing. When they fly, they burn up energy. When they burn energy, they have to go and hunt. When they're hunting, they're not always successful. Some birds of prey can go long 5, 6, 7 days without getting in to eat. So rather just fly for the sake of flying, they will spend most of their life sitting doing nothing. So we do courses where people can come along and learn how to do the art of falconry. Plus then we also do experience days where people can come along even just for a couple of hours, where they get a chance to see the birds up close, learn a wee bit about them, and then get a hands-on experience with working with different birds like the kestrel, barn owl, eagle owls, harrishawk, red-tails, and they get a real close-up experience of flying these birds. Like this sport is thousands of years old. And like a lot of science we use today, has originated from falconry. Like whenever we're flying our birds, whenever we're finished flying them, we'll feed them their full amount of food. So if you came and said to me, John, can I see that bird flying? I would say, no, it's fed up. And that's where that saying came from. I'm at the end of my tether. When the bird baits off the perch, it can only go as far as its leash allows it, so it comes to the end of the tether. If you get a falcon that will bath, like birds of prey don't need water to survive, they get all their fluids from meat. But when you give a falcon a bath to bath in, that falcon, if it would have taken a gulp of water, even a couple of gulps of water, it was classed as a boozer. So we have a lot of science that we used, what came from falconry.
Basically, I'm doing a little blacksmithing demonstration. It's the Bruce Festival, so I think what they want to do is get a whole medieval type feel and theme to it, really. Which is fortunate for me because I teach guys how to make blades and knives and stuff like that there. So if they're wielding swords and whatnot in the garden in front of me, I can tell people, I can show you how to make them. See behind me there, I've got an anvil, which is basically a flat surface with a pointy bit in the end. And then in behind I've got a big metal box, otherwise known as a forge. And then I've got my bellows, which is a bouncy castle blower, which is blowing air in below and keeping the fire going and giving it that extra bit of heat. That's fundamentally all you really need to get started. So that's all I have there, just to show people what I do. Something I get asked quite often is, "Oh, sure, that's a dying trade," or do you not shoe horses and things like that there. But basically, in the end of the day, blacksmithing isn't a dying trade. The village blacksmith you may have seen 30, 40 years ago, that guy doesn't exist, but he was struggling to survive from day one. He was doing every job that, under the sun. He was shoeing horses, he was fixing ploughs, he was making gates and rails, whatever he could get a hand on. These days the blacksmith is, I learned it myself, who's an artist blacksmith who makes sculpture and art, and the occasional traditional joinery skill based one. Also, you've got the heritage guys that go around and restore old gates and railings in the traditional fashion. You've got designer makers, guys who make, gates and railings for high-end costs and stuff like that. They're much more specialised. Traditionally, the blacksmith would have been work with pure iron, which has been a lot softer and easier to work with, but that's become harder to come by because the demand went down. So when I work with mild steel, which is basically iron with a bit more carbon in it, but really, fundamentally the skills haven't changed, really. The traditional skills kind of, pass on and, from generation to generation. To be honest with you, The way I describe it is not everybody wants to dress in lycra and ride a bike around for the weekend. Like, some people want to work with their hands, and they want to actually go, do something that's contributing to their house, and have something finished that they can say they made. And you look around your living room and you can maybe say, oh, there's a wee set of shelves I would like to make, and have it done traditional blacksmith way, or a coffee table, or maybe you're looking at that fire there and you're sick of that brass poker you bought many years ago and you want to make something decent yourself. A wee evening class, you can knock something like that up. The alternative is maybe you're a chef, or maybe you think yourself as a bit of a chef, and that knife you bought in Dunelm is just not sharp enough and it's not holding its blade. Well, come to my class and then we can show you how to make a proper one. It'll hold its edge and we can go from there.
You're short. We were short in the yard. That's it.
The Carrickfergus Castle has had so many people, so many hierarchy, royalty come here. Edward de Bruce and then Robert de Bruce came over and joined them for a few days. We had King John here, and right up till Elizabeth II was here herself. So the history of the castle and the history of the town is phenomenal, and so many famous people from history has been here. And that's what we want to be able to portray to the people of Carrickfergus.
Me as a kid, I never liked history at school, and it wasn't until I started growing older that I started to appreciate my own town's history. And I think it's important for kids, because if you lose your history, you lose your own identity, you lose your town's identity.
It's good to see the like of this now, because we never had this, and it would have encouraged more people, I think, to take a look at their history.
Carrickfergus Castle is such a vital venue for us. We couldn't do it without the backdrop of the castle. It makes a magnificent backdrop for an event like this. So getting people interested, getting them in through the door to sort of show them and educate them what the castle is all about, and the history of it goes back 1,000 years. So I mean, it is a well worth a visit.
Carrick Castle, I've been through it umpteen times. It's spectacular, and it's sitting nearly brick perfect. Well, stone perfect, So now it's certainly you need to keep it going.
I grew up around the castle. The winter, it used to be closed in the winter long ago. It would have been closed all winter. And I used to be friends with the wee girl that used to live here. And we used to play around here in the winter time. It was great. And we'd get into all the wee nooks and crannies that nobody used to sort of get into.
What I like about the town is it's mystery. It's steeped in mystery, history and everything else. It's just all there for the taking. And if people learn about it, they would be a lot more aware of what's went on and what people had to do. There's quite a lot of steeped history. Of course, the castle here. You've St Nicholas's Church, you've Dobbins. There's old monasterial ruins around the city. People don't realise what's on their own doorstep until it's brought to your attention. You imagine this castle being built all those centuries ago. How did they do it? Every stone had to be chipped, put into place. The castle, in section by section, had to be fortified. It doesn't even bear thinking about. It's still standing.
Carrick seems to be known for a lot of sort of Keen Billy, the pageant that's here, the Schomberg siege. They've got to look outside that. They've got to look deeper into their history and see that there's more. And this is what's great about the Bruce's stuff. It's showing another aspect of Carrick's history, and there's much, much more that they could be actually learning and seeing and doing.
It's very good, it pulls in a big crowd, and for anybody who's watching this here, certainly put it in your diary for next year. There's a lot of, Carrickfergus is very good at putting on a lot of different activities for the people that come in and see. Very good, I would recommend it.
If people are looking to find out more about the history and the heritage of the Ulster Scots, they can certainly visit the Discover Ulster Scots Centre, which is at 1 to 9 Victoria Street in Belfast City Centre. It's down in the Cathedral Quarter as well. Entry to it is free, and we are open Monday to Friday, 10 until 4.
Ashley. Yes, nicely done. Sam, blue, come on. Yes, gets it. Stephen, yes, for the Reds. Pretty even, I think. Come on, here you!